Good evening. So today is day 4 of my 28 Vegans February video series. Today I'm going to be joined by Greg and Carmen from Farm of the Free. They have a place just outside of Atlanta, and my wife and I were fortunate enough to meet them at Veg Fest in Nashville. So I want to bring them on, show them a little bit of appreciation as far as what they've brought to our journey, to our lives, and let them have a chance to talk about some of the stuff that they want to share about what they're doing, what's important to them, some of the things they've experienced. So give me just a second here. They just sent a request, so let me go ahead and bring them in here. One of the things they did warn me, their service may buffer, so bear with us. This is not a there they are.
Hey.
How you guys doing?
Do we need to turn it the other way?
Do what you got to do, like whatever.
No, we'll turn it the other way. It's okay. We'll just cram in here.
Hey, there we go.
Is that good?
How you guys doing?
Good. Much better.
What kind of? Yeah. So it's funny. It's just been almost a year ago that my wife and I ran into you guys. We were at Veg Fest over in Nashville. Came walking by and saw your booth there, and that's kind of how we met and started talking. So first off, I love the hats. If you guys caught Dave and I the other night, those are fantastic.
Yeah, we loved that.
Yeah, that was so cute.
Well, it was funny. It was funny because he started and he's like, "Hey, wait a minute, let me go get mine."
Yeah.
So that worked out really well. It's kind of neat how folks that in this community that support one another and support each other kind of come together and find those places where you fit. Like we have a lot of folks from the General Barn that are close to us, and folks from the Farm of the Free, and we really appreciate what you guys do. So how did you guys get started down there?
So we went vegan together in 2013, the beginning of 2013 into 2012, basically. And we just kind of like we were vegan, and we stopped eating animals, obviously, and consuming and wearing and everything. And then with probably 2 years or 3 years into it, we were just like, what else can we do? Yeah. And we both had this passion of rescuing, adopting dogs and cats throughout our lives before we ever knew each other. Sorry.
That was Dave.
No.
And before we ever knew each other, we both had this passion of, adopting and rescuing animals, dogs, cats, rats, fish, and stuff. So we heard of farm sanctuaries, and we kind of started looking into them and started visiting them. And then our friends down at south of Atlanta in Warm Springs, Georgia, Full Circle Farm Sanctuary came into town from Asheville. And then we started volunteering there religiously. Every weekend we were there learning from them and
yeah, they really took us under their wing. This is a big shout out to them.
Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're amazing. And we were basically mentored by them, and we just kind of put our heads together and we were like, is this something we could do? I work from home, and
I was a vet tech, so I have
she's
that
got the
experience.
animal care experience.
Awesome.
So that helps a lot.
Yeah, so it was kind of a joint conversation. Sure. Yeah, and thoughts and everything, and then it just kind of became a reality, and we started we started putting together a 501c3 nonprofit, and so we became tax exempt. And then we were trying to sell our house that was in Smyrna, Georgia, right outside Atlanta, and that took a few months. And then once we did that, we just started hunting for the perfect place, and we found it here in Good Hope, Georgia, in 2017, and moved here at the end of April, and just kind of started doing what we dreamt of doing. And we've rescued since then 14 farmed animals, and learned
a whole lot along the way.
Yeah.
I'm sure sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Yeah, we've learned so much. Yeah, and it's been very challenging. Some days have been stressful. Both of us were working full time up until the beginning of this year. Now Carmen's a full-time employee for the nonprofit, and so that's been really
it's been
helpful.
A huge blessing, because literally I felt like we were drowning at the end of last year. It was crazy. We were just trying to keep our heads above water. Not we have tons of support, but just as far as the workload, we just haven't had any time for anything outside of work and the sanctuary, which, I mean, now that I work from the sanctuary, it's not like it's my dream. It's not like work, but when it was like my work and then like that on top of it, it was like really hard to like, you know, be here and be for the for the
both of us.
Now it's awesome.
That's a lot, and that's one of the things. So Becky and I, we have that same passion of rescuing animals. Today is actually a year ago today that we pulled Captain, who is now at the Gentle Barn in Nashville. Nice. We pulled him out of a place where they had 290 head of cattle, and when we went to go get him at this farm, I use that term very loosely because it was not a very kind place, but he was standing and all the cows were in like 8 inches of their own feces. And what a lot of folks don't realize is that's one of the reasons why they use so many antibiotics on farm animals that are farmed for that. So today, a year ago today, we missed the Super Bowl because of it, which we were totally okay with. We went down and pulled him out of this place, and now he is living the life of luxury at their new Nashville location. So really appreciate the Gentle Barn for that.
So many like
are you guys,
the scenes.
Say it again.
There's so many people doing stuff behind the scenes that you don't even like know about. Like you guys doing that, like, and you guys don't even like, don't have like a farm sanctuary, but that's the stuff that makes this work, is like the outside supports, the networks, and people coming together and helping. And so we're just like really appreciative of all the help that we've had. Like I mean, people were helping and supporting us before we even had land, and it's like you don't even know us. It's really cool, like the faith that people put in strangers. It's
sure.
We're really lucky. And so are the animals.
Well, and when I met you guys when we were at Veg Fest in Nashville, like I really felt that you guys were just good, genuine, God's honest people that I connected with, and I felt that we had a lot of things in common with. So, Becky and I, if you look out back in our backyard, we have a above ground pool that takes up 90% of our backyard. So we would love to get some property and start doing some of this more full time and having a place where we can keep some of these rescues that we keep helping with. It's not going to slow us down anytime soon. But so being that you guys are in Atlanta, so in Ohio, I personally, not just as a vegan, but as a male, I constantly am up against the typical, like, I used to hunt. Not proud of it, but I don't hide that from my history. Lots of my family still hunt. Lots of my friends still hunt. And so in this community, I get a lot of negative feedback. Have you guys experienced anything that hasn't been positive towards you guys?
I feel like we've been really lucky, even though we live out here in the country. Like our next door neighbor, for instance, is a hunter, and he's our accountant. Like he's very supportive. And we're just like, I mean, it pays off to be kind. He's where he's at right now, and I mean, we all used to be at that point, most of us anyway. So we just try to meet that with compassion. I mean, it's tough. I mean, we've had situations where it's just like, ooh, you just want to get, but you just have to be compassionate. And we've actually learned a lot about that. I have to say something about this because I think we're going in a different direction than other farm sanctuaries. And the fact that when we first started, it was our goal to kind of do like the whole like rescue a ton of animals and stuff like that. But then at an Asheville Veg Fest, one of our was recently our board member and good friend Ren Hirsch, she wrote a book it's called Riding on the Power of Others, and she did a talk there on veganism and spirituality, and she talks about how like basically in the vegan community so many people are rushing to rescue animals to feel good about themselves and stuff like that. And the animals are basically, they're not really being seen. And basically there's a lot of, it's kind of hard to explain because we're still learning, but there's a lot of emotional exploitation still like very rampant in the vegan community. So we talked about like not having consent, like animals, like people going to reach down to touch an animal and the animal doesn't necessarily want to be messed with. And that happens a lot. So like a lot of vegan sanctuaries, they have like best intentions, including us, but like it turns into a glorified petting zoo, if you will, for lack of better word. And so we're really trying to be careful, and we're learning a lot about that right now. Yeah. So we've really had to like kind of put the brakes on in rescuing, because it's like, now that we know, we're trying to spend individual time with each animal and really see them for who they are.
Sure.
And it takes time. And so we're working on that. So we're kind of like in this weird transition period, and
yeah,
I just have to plug that because it's really
no,
important.
absolutely.
It's really important.
I think it's a very great point, because a lot of times, you know, it's great that you feel good that you rescued an animal, but if you're not respectful of that animal's space, its awareness, what it needs, especially if you think about the changes that it rushes through. Yeah. You know, if you watched any of the rescue from the Gentle Barn with Rosita and Eugene, they rescued Rosita and Eugene, who was birthed on a slaughterhouse floor. If you watch Jay and Ellie in any of their live feeds, they took the time to earn their trust instead of just rushing in there and surrounding them and, you know, immediately touching them, because they care about the animal's well-being. And I think some places do a very good job about that education when you come in, teaching people who aren't necessarily animal people to see what that animal is saying before you reach out and touch it. See if it's accepting. See if it's saying no. You know, pushing a large animal, let's say you take Cash or Waylon, if they were saying no to you and they wanted to get out of the way, they're going to knock you down, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they will. So, speaking of Cash and Waylon, how did it come to be that you guys get to rescue those two?
So those two actually were partially raised up the street in a town called Madison. Mm-hmm. And it's a local family that rescued them. So Waylon was rescued from an auction, who was there as a calf and was meant to be sold as veal. And Cash was born on a the farm next to them, which is a dairy farm, and it was
a cattle farm, but the mom didn't. The mom basically wasn't breastfeeding her baby, and so at that point the farmers don't have time to bottle feed them, so they just sell them off as veal. And this is actually a really cool story. So the little girl that lived, who was part of rescuing him, literally went over there while he was little and dragged him on their property and saved him. And then later she went back and told the farmer, and he was okay with it. But so that's how they got them. And then basically they only had 3 acres, and they have a horse farm, and so they found out about us, and that's how we got them.
Yeah, so they had them for about a year and raised them for about a year, and then we they were trying to find a larger farm, but everyone around here, of course, was asking how much they weighed, and you know, had the mindset of wanting to slaughter them for meat and stuff. And then we shared the same equine vet, and the equine vet told them about us, and so they contacted us, and sure enough they reached out to us, and they, you know, asked if we would take them, and yeah, of course we did. And we even did a name auction for them, or like a raffle for to name them again and stuff, and they actually won, and so their names are still Waylon and Cash, but we were considering something else, so.
Sure. No,
I mean, it actually fits them. I think it worked out, like Waylon and Cash. Like, it's just perfect for them.
Yeah, it really is.
Once you get,
especially that they're together with those two names, synonymous, country music, and, you know, being in the South, like, you know. Yeah, that's the way it was meant to be, to keep those names. That's fantastic.
And they're amazing together. They're so bonded.
Oh my God, like, they're so.
It's just amazing watching them interact with each other, and
just from our perspective, we only know this much, but just what we see is just like, it's so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
That's fantastic. So how many animals do you guys have total?
So we have 14 total. 9 are chickens, and that's where we are hanging out in the chicken area right now.
Yeah. You want to see?
Yeah.
That's Ahsoka right there. He's like the alpha female, pretty much. And then we got Dennis and some girls over there. And then that's Ray right there. And we're working on getting bigger areas for some of the roosters, but they kind of they don't get along, so we have to build bigger areas, and so that's what we're working on in like 2 weeks. we're getting them bigger areas, and it's just been one project after another, but it's amazing.
Yeah, and
we learn a lot.
Yeah, we do, and that's one of the reasons why we've had to say no so often, because we're still working on the animals that we have in our care now, like their homes and structures and stuff like that. And if we were to take in more animals, we would put that on the back burner, and it would just never get done. And so one of the hardest things is to say no, and that's one of the most important things about running a farm sanctuary, of course, is like knowing your limits and boundaries of what you can take care of at the time, that the present and stuff. So and it's manageable now.
That goes to the logic of, you're putting the animals first, and there's a point where you start bringing in too many animals, and then you can't care for any of them well.
Exactly.
That's great that you guys have that mental foresight and understand that and put that into practice.
It did. It was so hard.
Especially with me. Carmen's better at it than I am.
Yeah,
I'm always like, and she's like, no.
And it's really hard because, like, seriously, at least twice a week we get emails for pigs, roosters, and it like hurts to have to say no, but it's like you have to think about everybody here. Like, one more animal right now could literally sink the entire ship. So it's just like, we really need to be careful about that. And I know probably a lot of places are like, oh, they only have 14 animals. What's going on? Well, we're trying to do a really good job with people that have entrusted their support to us, and obviously the animals who are like the reason we're here. So, it's tough. It's really tough.
It is.
Without throwing someone under the bus, some friends of ours shared with us that they're very much like you guys in that one of them is like, yes, I'll take them all. And the other one says, hang on, we can only do so much. The one who is realistic and kind of keeps things under control, so to speak, has said if it wasn't for them, they'd be shut down for animal cruelty because they'd be overcrowded because she wants to take them home. And, I appreciate you guys acknowledging that these animals' needs have to come first. I'm with you that, I'm a little more like Greg, and I'd be like, let's bring, we'll figure it out. But you gotta have Carmen on the other shoulder saying, hey, you want to do this, but it's important to, make sure that you are being beneficial to all the animals, including the ones you currently have.
It's definitely a fine line, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have moments where I'm like, oh, we could, but it's like, where does that stop though, And then, like, I really had to get responsible, especially when you have people public funding. Like, it's like, all right, now we really need to take this really seriously. Like, it's not just us anymore, like, we're like letting everybody down, including the animals, and then like people who trust us. So it's like, there's a lot on our shoulders.
Well,
it makes it easier to make that decision, but it's still hard.
I really appreciate all that you guys do for the animals, all you guys do for this movement. I think you guys are two incredible vegan couples that, folks that my wife and I relate to, and we really appreciate all that you guys do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You guys are, you guys are educating folks, and you guys are trying to encourage folks to look at things differently, and you are trying to be compassionate to as many animals as you can. And in a world that everyone is so busy with everything else, that you guys have worked so hard, working 2 full-time jobs up until recently. That's just outstanding that you guys have been able to do that and to get to this point. And, I wish you guys nothing but the best in the future, and, looking forward. Are you guys planning at being at Veg Fest in Nashville this year?
Yes, we will be at Nashville. We've got a couple other Veg Fests lined up already for this year. And then we definitely want to partake in some local festivities or events, out here in the area as well, so we can educate the local public too and stuff like that. But we've got a lot of work still in progress here on the sanctuary, including an education center that we're working towards building, where we'll host like cooking demos and
more importantly,
plant-based
like
and self-care stuff like meditations and yogas and then just other type of educational classes that we're going to try to do on the sanctuary. So that's in the works, and a lot of other stuff. So we hope whenever you guys can make it out here, we'll be fully established. So
we want to travel more than we have. It's just tough. We still got 6 kids at home, so that can be fun scheduling. But a lot of times
you have your own human sanctuary, so
we're gonna get shut down for hoarding too. So. So we, it's been a lot of fun. Kids have learned a lot, and I really appreciate how our kids have grown from this. Our boys, living in a small farm town, they get picked on. They get made fun of. And our oldest, he's 13, and junior high is tough enough. But Drew has the biggest and kindest heart, and he doesn't care. He will, he'll take what anyone throws at him, and he is kind and tries not to retaliate, but he tries to educate, and he tries to get people to try new things too. So it's a lot of fun seeing them grow in this movement as well. So,
so awesome.
Really appreciate that. So
That's awesome.
Greg, Carmen, I appreciate your guys' time tonight. I think you guys are fantastic for what you're doing. I appreciate all the support you've provided my wife and I. And, we're going to try our very best to be in Nashville for Veg Fest as well. I think it's April 6th. So that would be that'd be fun to see you guys again.
Yeah.
And then you
you
can say whatever you want. Go ahead.
I really want to plug our board, because without them, we would literally be nothing. Like, they've really just been the glue to everything, especially in the last year. It was really hard. So we want to plug Jessica, Amber, Ren, Michelle, Victor, and I think it was just you and me, right? That's 7. I'm not on the board anymore, but I said Amber. Okay. Yeah. And they are amazing, and obviously all of our supporters who believe in us, like you guys.
Yep.
We really want to say thank you, because we couldn't do anything without these people that guide us. So.
Yeah. Seriously.
Well, absolutely. You guys are quite welcome, and clearly you have enough friends and people that believe in you guys, and that's so important. I think this community, when it works together instead of against each other, it works so much better, and we can accomplish so much more. So my job I feel one of my jobs as a man is to reach out to other men. I talked about this with Dave the other day. Yeah. And so I love seeing that, you can still be a man and be vegan and be compassionate and share that with others in a way that is not confrontational, not, some folks like to get yelly and screamy, and if that's their thing, whatever.
Yeah.
Personally, I want to encourage folks to come visit places like Farm of the Free and support organizations that push things forward, push kindness and compassion forward. So you guys are rock stars in this, and I really appreciate and value you guys' friendship along the way.
Yeah, you're doing an awesome job. Thanks, man.
Yeah, ditto. You are an inspiration. Seriously. Yeah. Sometimes we're like, oh my God, he's making us look like we need to pick up
Stop it. We don't. We do what we can where we can with what we have, and I think that's a big thing. It's kind of like when you know better, you do better. As we learn in this, we try to share that with others. Like anyone, we're going to make mistakes, whether it be with animals, whether it be with our diet, and we want people to understand it's okay to make mistakes. It's it's human nature, right? So we want to encourage people to keep moving forward and keep being kind and compassionate, and the more people we can go to become vegan and support vegan companies and companies that don't support cruelty, the better off we're all going to be.
Yep.
So it takes us all, and you guys are definitely rock stars in this, and we just really appreciate your friendship. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
giving
thank
us
you
the
so
platform.
much.
You're a great.
Hope we can see you in Nashville.
Absolutely. We will definitely have to get together if we're going to make it in town, but we'll be in touch, and if we can, we need to grab dinner or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds good. We'd love that.
Black bean and rice burritos, right?
Yes.
No.
Oh my God, I forgot we told you about that.
Yes, you shared that. So, all right, well, we'll find something else for dinner for Greg. So.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks, guys. You guys take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.